Today is day 152 of the podcast, and when you read the book of Hebrews, you hear the writer lament because his readers, the people he's addressing this epistle to, are failing to mature. Let me read to you from just a part of it, and I'm going to read from Hebrews chapter 5, starting at verse 11. Concerning him we have much to say, and it's hard to explain since you've become dull of hearing. For though by this time you ought to be teachers, you have need again for someone to teach you the elementary principles of the oracles of God, and you have come to need milk and not solid food. For everyone who partakes only of milk is not accustomed to the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But solid food is for the mature, who, because of practice, have their senses trained to discern good and evil. And then 6:1 begins, therefore, leaving the elementary teaching about the Christ, let us press on to maturity. And then it continues. So there is this point in time where people can get stuck and remain milk drinkers, or they can press on in their maturity and be those who are partaking of solid food. Now, solid food is tied here to those who have matured through practicing discernment. They have matured by training their senses and not allowing their senses to always just lead them wherever their feelings, their emotions, their thoughts would take them. Our soul always wants to determine our choices. It always wants to take the role of giving leadership to us. But maturity comes when we practice training those senses to be led rather than leading. And when we practice walking by the Holy Spirit's knowledge, by the Holy Spirit's understanding, and the Holy Spirit's wisdom in a situation, instead of how our senses might lead us. As we respond to the indwelling Spirit then, and His leading, we begin to feed ourselves from Him. As we understand Him, He will feed us. So rather than bringing all of our nourishment through the life of another, He begins to access our heart and feed us Himself. So here's today's question for you. What's lacking when a whole church fails to move past being milk drinkers? When a whole church fails to mature, what's lacking?